Hello and welcome to me trying to do some art. So this isn't necessarily an unboxing video because this is a previous box from over a year ago. I had seen a sale on Scrawlr and I thought a bunch of boxes were really cool, but um I wasn't sure if I wanted to get a current one or not. And I just wanted to try it out. So I'm like, okay, got three of them, three previous boxes, and I'll be doing a video in which I use it, and I'll be using the prompt from it. So this isn't necessarily an unboxing. It's just more of an art challenge for me. So the challenge is Daydreamer, which is going to be fun. I have a Derwent sketching pencil. I read upside down, so it takes me a second. An HB, Faber-Castell watercolor pencil, and what color are you? Oh, there it is. Emerald green. I did not realize that was the name for emerald in German. Smaragd. Oh, GD. How do you do? I can say the green part. Grün. Sort of speak German. I say sort of because I need to practice more. I have a lot of relatives that live in Germany. We have this brown one. And walnut. Okay. Walnussbraun. If you're German and listening to this, I was brought up with more of a Schwäbisch German from my mom, so my accent's a little bit goofy sometimes, and sometimes can be lazy with the pronunciation because some people think it's swearing, which is really frustrating to me because I think it's beautiful. Probably because I was brought up with it. And then this one, what is this one? It's deep scarlet red, and in German, Scharlachrot tief. So, and I had spit stuck on that one. And these watercolor markers, which look really cool. And phthalo blue. And this one is cadmium yellow. And a brush. I love new brushes. And its little cap came off. But there's that. With the prompt Daydreamer, I sort of had a more abstract idea because there's a prompt again. I can zone out in this way that basically how do I describe it? It's almost like I'm asleep dreaming, but I'm awake. And it can be really intense. I will forget where I am sometimes if I slip into it really deeply. So I decided to do this. I did a little bit of it beforehand because I wanted to use a stencil. And basically it's going to be abstract. Abstract is not my forte. So it's something when the idea comes to me, I do really try to push myself. The only abstract I'm really good with is another type. It's really weird. I'll make a video about it sometime. But here I am going to be doing this. And I'm not erasing any of this pencil. This pencil is intentional, and I plan for it to show up later. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be adding in some other stuff. Again, this is all abstract because when I get these, in a way, daydreams, a lot of them are really abstract. So in my brain, sort of makes sense to do something super abstract. And I will just give a little explanation to this right now. For a moment I was just sort of seeing this almost fish shape. So I was starting to do that. And I'm going to do I use masking tape because I just was feeling like throwback to the good old days of watercolor class in high school and just using masking tape to hold everything down. Okay, more. Okay. And if you're sort of curious, this is an abstract dog, but that's just sort of my fun with that. Some might disagree with this, but I have not swatched anything yet. So just to keep me from just being overly analytical, I've just decided to go in. Lines don't matter. If you disagree with this, I'm sorry. This is me just trying to loosen myself up. I did not quite have the best day because of work. Just happens. My work can be very variable of what happens, so you can go in thinking, yes, today's going to be a good day, and you can come out and being like, oof, I wish I could just redo everything. And that just sort of happens. Or you just wish, I wish I could go back to bed. And this sort of feels like Christmas colors. Oh well. And full ear. So I am getting some water. Ooh. I like this. This is nice. So I think the first time I ever had a watercolor pencil, I think I just didn't have a very good one because it was not this smooth. Like, you could see every single line I drew when I was, like, even no matter what I did with it. So this is nice and smooth. I'm loving this. And I forgot paper towel. It is fine. So yeah, there is a brush nib that I'm going to be using. Haha. I don't have a good setup, so I actually am holding my phone while I'm doing this. If I took the time, I probably could get a camera and do it, but I decided I'm going to be a rebel and not. Well, that's awesome. That turned out exactly how I wanted it to. Okay. Getting the brush out again. So yeah, this is very much me experimenting when on this paper. Seeing how it turns out. You know what? That's not necessarily always a bad thing. If you're like me and you get in your head too much, you just sort of get in this mindset and you just never go out of that comfort zone. And you just never try anything new, which, like, yeah, some people love the comfort zone. I mean, I love to push myself out of the comfort zone. I find that I just do better. I would never have taken half the trips I have if I would have done that. I would have never gone to New Zealand. I would have never gone to Scotland, Ireland. I would have gone to Italy, but I would have never gone to live there for a couple months. So that's just something that, honestly, like, I don't regret in my life. But it took a while to get myself there to that point. So right now I have a palette. Palette not included in Scrawlrbox. No, nor was water, but water is obvious. Just saying it to be goofy. Just because I'm getting a little serious. Yeah. Pushing yourself out of that comfort zone is going to be that thing that does push you forward. And for me, if I would have never done that, I mean, when I'm naming these countries, I went by myself. I met up with a tour group, had no clue who anyone else was on these groups. And I just was like, okay, I'm here for this. Like, let's see what happens. And honestly, it was the best thing I did ever in my life. Because I was willing to just step out of that boundary so much. And honestly, I have no regrets. Slogan of the company I went with. No regrets. Whereas some people would call it no regrets. It was a reference to something that I don't entirely understand. If you do, feel free to tell me. I always forget to look it up. But yeah. That's just one thing I try to live by is no regrets. No looking back and saying, oh, I wish I would have done this. Because that is not how you can really live life well. And honestly, I don't want to be one of those people who's just going to be like, oh, I wish I would have done that. I'm already am doing that. And I'm like, I have done so much and I still do it. I can't. I've just decided I can't be that person who just goes through life and keeps on saying, oh, I wish I would have. Anyway, a little bit of a soapbox, but you know what? I know so many people. I'm dating a person who is just waiting, like willing to be in that box, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just anytime I've said, hey, try this with me, I feel like it's been afterwards, oh, that was really cool, thank you. Okay, so I just dipped my emerald green in the water. Just for a different feel. I know that's something you can do with watercolor pencils. And that lasted like 2 seconds. So these are supposed to be like more ergonomical, the giant chunky pencil. And you know what? I'm loving it. I think I'm going to have that more as a dried out. That looks cool. Yeah, it's supposed to be more ergonomical having the chunky one, and I'm not saying like I need a more ergonomical. I'm really loving it. Just me personally. Getting some yellow. Going to my brain. Yeah, I think a yellow wash over here would be really cool. Did not entirely turn into a wash. It turned into almost as bright. There we go. Okay, I'm going to water that down a little bit more. Yeah, actually one thing, so I've read things where people are scared to start a sketchbook. I'm always excited to start a sketchbook. A sketchbook is going to be where you are just not caring, putting everything into something and just going for it. And to me, like, that is awesome. I love it. Like, to me, it's not bad. What actually gives me a little anxiety is when I have expensive paper and I'm just like, I don't want to ruin it, or a very low quantity of something. So like this paper is, I have only 8 sheets of this paper. So part of my brain is like, I don't want to like use it all up. But you know what? It's paper to be used. I need to use it. That's looking like an arrow. Okay, now it no longer looks like an arrow. I think the air conditioning in here is need a little bit dry. Definitely the summer is getting so humid. The heat isn't bad, it's the humidity has been bad this summer already. Like, it's June. Well, technically it's July. Happy July. It's already gotten so humid and hot. I mean, like, it was already getting almost unbearable. Like, right away in June, and I was just like, what happened to June weather? Like, did we skip right away to August? But you know what? I've started getting used to it. I have to wear long pants and long sleeve shirts to work. I'm moving around, so it's not entirely fun. But you know what? It's a rewarding job. I love it. I feel like I'm still being really controlled. Just trying to really just go out and just be crazy, and look at me. I'm just Being very methodical. Still not loosening up. I think it might be a little bit of my nature. I'm just not a very good at loosening up person. Now you can get me to... Okay, you can't get me to skydive. I have done a canyon swing in New Zealand. That was amazing. I love doing that. I made a friend on the trip, and I loved that. Like, it was just him and me doing it. It was awesome. We went separate, as you do, but at least as we did, because he ended up doing this sort of Spartan toss-off. It was so funny. Sir did a, "This is Sparta," and one of the guys just kicked him off, and I'm like, just sitting there, like, anxious, because all I wanted, they had a slide, and all I wanted to do is use the slide to go off, because I was just too anxious. I'm like, nope, I can't jump, and that's just me, I can't do it. And they're like, no, it's better, like, you might grab on if you go with the slide. I'm like, no. So the first time I had to do it, no slide. I wanted the slide, but they're like, no, like, don't do it with the like, we can't let you do it with the slide. We don't know how you're going to react. So I didn't get to do it with the slide. I wanted to do it with the slide so badly. I was scared, but I was willing to do it. And then come back. I do it the first time. They pushed me. I was not happy. I had some choice words for them at the end, which, grumbling in German under your breath sort of freaks people out. But yeah, it was, in the end, it was fun. I dropped my brush in the water. In the end, it was fun. I loved doing it. I would definitely do it again. They did let me do it a second time with the slide, and I was much happier. I was so much happier. I ended up loving it, and I wish I could have done more, but it was expensive, and then for some reason my credit card wouldn't want to work. So I was just like panicking. Got back to our hostel. It was fine. It just for some reason was like, didn't want to. That, like, I went somewhere else like an hour after we got back, and it was fine. Controlled. Why am I being so controlled? Pick a color 1 through 7. This is for me. Don't mind me. And then I'll get back to my point. Pick a color 1 through 7. 4. What is 4? Roy G. Green. Okay. Feeling like a green. I'm going to try this. I've never tried this. Nope. Not happening. Okay. I don't want to do it turquoisey. So anyway, my point is, even though I was so nervous to do that with the canyon swing, I ended up like loving it and not regretting it. Like years later, 2 years. It's been 2 years. Oh gosh. 2 years later, not regretting it at all. I would love to do it again. So yeah. That's just how life can be, though. It can be something where you're just like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared, and then you do it and you just realize it was the best thing you could have done in that moment. That's been so many things in my life. I took a job getting on to 2 years ago. I interviewed for the job in July of 19. Had no clue, was not in my field, and I might have ups and downs with it, but you know what? I still love it. Like, I don't regret doing this job at all. I don't regret anything. I actually have a little, yeah, no regrets, nothing. The only thing I sometimes regret was I started off in one location, and within the year I've been transferred to another location. And if I would have started off in that location, it might have turned out a little bit and more in my favor, because it would have been more job advancements faster. I might have been considered for an advancement that, because I went to the other location first, I got passed over. Not necessarily bitter at how I got passed over. Like, it makes sense. I made my choice. It happened. It just sometimes I wish I wouldn't have. Oh, that's what I'm needing. I'm needing some purple. Okay, I like how this color turned out, how I did that. Basically, in my palette, I'm going to focus over here for a second. I took the color and the marker. So I've used both ends of this marker just to do this part. Not that big of a deal. I think the bullet nib probably would be a little bit better for it. I actually wetted my pencil, drew around it to get some of the color off. I love how big and chunky these pencils are. Like, if you like something a little bit slimmer, yeah. You want a fine point, yeah. For me, I'm loving it because it makes me loosen my grip a little more. I tend to death grip things really bad when you're supposed to be very loose. That's why I love watercolor. I actually loosen up when I do watercolor a lot more, like, versus colored pencils and everything else. I loosen up. So I love it when I have something that just sort of forces me to loosen up. I sound like such a stiff. I'm not. I can be very rigid in some things, but some things not as much. I think I'm also going to do like. I should look at the place you're doing this on. Okay. I'll come back to that in a second, but yeah. Mix. Mix. Okay, that is turning a little bit wonky. I think that's going to be good. Yeah. Okay, tiny bit more water. There we go. There we go. Okay. Go here, get a little more that red, and then I'm going to spread it out. Get a little more water in there. Don't forget to refocus your camera, genius. little grayish. You know what? And that is fine. I will take that. Go like that a little bit. Go around there. Bring that up. Now I'm just going to continue this to go like that. If you sort of look at it and you think, huh, there's a spot that sort of looks like a Pokeball, I did sort of leave that on purpose. Just for the fact of, if I play a video game too much, when I have these like weird daydreams things, I'm like, I can still be like playing my video game, or I'll be in my video game. That's another one, wacky one that'll happen. Oh, I really got that one when I did that. Okay. It's going to make a very muted brown up there. I'm hoping more muted. I'm trying to go for a more muted, pretty brown. Not entirely. Oh. Focus on where you're doing stuff. Anyway. My brain really loves order, so me doing something so chaotic is a little bit different for me. Hey, look, I put my hand in the paint again. Weird, clumsy thing I do all the time. So I find this paper spilling. I don't know if I can get this to focus on it. Nope, it's not wanting to focus. Okay. The paper's spilling just slightly, and it sort of makes me sad. It says watercolor paper, but apparently I'm pushing it to its limit. Go like this, and okay. I'm going to give this a little bit of drying time, and I will be back. Hello. I am back. I just basically washed out my brush for a second, forgot to take care of the water. Gave my dog some love, and now I'm back. Basically what I wanted to do is, I realized some of these sketchy lines I did sort of got drowned out in the water. Word choice intentional. I wanted to put them in because I wanted these more visible. I think I just did a little bit too heavy-handed, and then I was going to add a little bit of texture also. I was glad that a lot of this did stay. I'm going to just do a couple extra to make sure. I think it was because it was a lighter area. I could take my stencil and go back, but you know, I like the shape I ended up getting, so I'm going to just do this like that. And I'm going to do some other stuff. I hope I don't sound too prattly when I'm talking. It's just something I do. Sometimes I can just talk and not entirely say something, but I am saying something. I wonder if water does have effect on graphite more than I'm realizing. Wow, that is showing up more, I think, on the camera than in person. Weird. Cool, but also weird. And I want to do... Let me make sure I maintain that. Now, I definitely am trying to make this channel a lot about learning, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and doing things like that. And that's one thing I just love about art, is there's so many different ways to push yourself. You can try new techniques, you can try a new medium, you can try all these different things. And it just is up to you. You go out, you get something that you want. Like, again, like pencils, not my thing. Am I satisfied? I think I might be satisfied with this. So here's the last part. Taking off the masking tape. Oh yeah. I did these two corners. A little bit of on purpose. For some reason, anytime I do something and I take the masking tape off, it goes from, oh, why did I do this? Ooh, spiral. I love it when they come out in spirals. I get this feeling of, why do I do this? Why is it so horrible? And then I get to the end, I take off the masking tape, and I say, this isn't as bad. I think I like the border. Oh, the paper ripped. Note yourself, paper, this paper does rip a little bit. Oh, and there it ripped again. Ball. I don't like the ball. I like the spirals, and my spiral is now partially ball. Okay, last one. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. A little bleed over. Oh, it's not that bad. Ooh, this feels like it's going to be a spiral. It's taking the paper with it. No. Leave the paper behind and fail. Anyway. So here it is. I think it's good. I don't know. I think it's a good attempt. Oh, you can see part of another box that I did a video for, which may or may not be up by the time I post this one. Recording video, easy. Getting my computer to put it in the video into editing software, not easy. Once it's in the editing software, I'm having no issue. Doesn't want it. And yeah, you can see with a little bit of shining of where the graphite is. So this is it. Yeah, this is what I think of my daydreams look like. And yeah, this was made with 1, 2, 6 color blending mediums, paintbrush, and paper, all from Scrawlrbox. April of 2020. Would have been April of 2020. This is the result. Thanks. I need to stop talking, apparently. Thanks for watching. Bye.